President Kagame, let's just focus for a moment on the reliance on official development assistance. And I come back to the point that I made earlier that in 2013, development aid was suspended to Rwanda, allegations that Rwanda was fueling insecurity in the DRC. This was never proved, and that aid was once more instituted. But in 2013, and according to my figures, again, they may not be in line with yours, but like for like, you sat at a 4.6% growth rate. So a big fall off from your previous decade of around about 7%. As a result, you have very quickly moved to limit your exposure to foreign aid to help you insulate yourself against shocks on that front. Can you tell us how you've done that? Because again, your growth rates, obviously that aid was reinstituted, but you're now sitting with aid at about 40% of your budget.
Yes, first of all, it starts with the original objective. For us, how we have used development aid is to enable us to build capacities we require so that we don't need aid in the long term or medium-long term. This is really what we have concentrated on, not to keep depending on aid as such. So we've been transitioning, therefore, from this development aid to investment aid. So we've concentrated on what is it that attracts investment, and particularly for the case of Rwanda with its own specificities. And this is why we have concentrated. We have also concentrated on doing business. What is it that attracts people to do business in or with Rwanda? And that goes beyond Rwanda and touches, as I said, in the broader sense, the area of integration. But as we have been building these capacities, therefore, we've been identifying revenue sources that we can depend on, that we have control over, other than revenue sources over which we have no control at all. And so the transition has been accelerated, in fact, by maybe some of these problems. I think some of these problems come with a silver lining, in a sense. Sometimes you don't invite problems, but when they come, they also come with these silver linings. So we are not saying that we are over with needing aid at all. No, we are only saying we can survive with less aid now than we would have survived the other day because of, one, investing properly the development aid, two, meaning building capacities, two, identifying these other areas that actually can constitute revenue generation beyond what we get from aid. And that is what we can do from within and also what we can do as a region and beyond. And then the areas of infrastructure has been said that can't be overstated and so on and so forth. So this is really how we have continued to move forward.
And perhaps just to put a little context around there in terms of the World Bank's Ease of Business Index or Ease of Doing Business Index, Rwanda sits in #3 spot when it comes to the African continent, Mauritius being #1 and South Africa being #2, President Jacob Zuma. Your thoughts, sir, on this shift as we come to the expiry of the Millennium Development Goals in September 2015 from development aid or official development assistance to development investment? What is South Africa doing to capture development investment?
Well, we hold the same view that, firstly, it's necessary that the aid should shift to investment. That helps the countries really to stand on their own and be able to move forward. And we believe that that should be the understanding of those who give aid. I think the example of Africa having been developing the way it has been, it is partly because Africa, I think, has been receiving more aid than perhaps other regions of the world. I think that is evidence that there has been very careful usage of it, as President Kagame has been saying, that it has been used to help propel the economy, and therefore, with time, you would actually stand on our own as the African countries. I think that's an approach we have taken, that we need that understanding. Again, it comes back to the kind of leadership, how this is being utilized now, different than what it was a few years or a number of years ago. That the leadership is looking at how we utilize what we get for our tomorrow. But I also wanted to touch on the issues that were touched upon on the infrastructure. I think I touched on this point earlier. The reality is that the leadership, the collective leadership in the continent, has taken a decision about infrastructure. And there are processes that are ongoing. It's not just we are still planning. In some regions, actual work is going on, because we realized that without dealing with that issue, which is again a legacy of colonialism that did not connect countries, if we don't have inter-trade, we don't soften our borders, we don't increase the economy among ourselves, we are not going to succeed. That is why the matter of integration of the regions is an ongoing issue. 3 regions are now working to integrate and putting together a huge area wherein the trade is going to be free among them, with a huge population, and really going very far in terms of how much Africa is organizing itself economically as a continent. I think that goes a long way to explain how much the current leadership is thinking.